Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story about a stadium that was supposed to be the absolute jewel of Spain, a symbol of a football club at the very peak of its powers. But instead, it became a ghost. This is an insane story of soaring ambition, a devastating financial crash, and a dream that just refused to die.
Think about that phrase for a second. It perfectly captures what Valencia's new stadium was for almost 15 years. It wasn't a home for football, it was just this empty, silent monument to what went wrong. So how on earth did a dream this big end up as a ruin? Let's get into it.
To really understand why the fall was so dramatic, you have to see just how high they were flying. So let's rewind the clock to the mid-2000s. Back then, Valencia was an absolute powerhouse in European football.
Okay, so we're not just talking about a good team here. This was a club that was winning championships, competing with the very best in Europe. Their stadium, the legendary Mestalla, was historic, for sure. But the club's leadership? They wanted something that just screamed dominance, a home built for a brand new era.
And this was their vision, a breathtaking 75,000-seat marvel, a modern coliseum designed not just to host football matches, but to etch Valencia's name into the book of football royalty for a new century. I mean, the ambition was just off the charts. And the design was absolutely stunning. The architects brought in, imagine the shimmering masterpiece of aluminum and steel. It was meant to be a statement piece, you know? Spain's definitive answer to all the iconic new stadiums that were popping up all across Europe.
All right, so the dream was set, but this is where the story takes a sharp turn. That grand vision was built on a really fragile financial plan. And, well, the entire world was about to change in a way that would completely shatter it.
This timeline just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows how fast the dream died, and for how long it stayed dead. Construction kicked off with this huge celebration in 2007. By 2009, silence. And for more than a decade after that, the only thing growing on that site was weeds and rust. And here it is, the fatal flaw in the whole plan. The entire project was being paid for by one thing: selling the land where the old stadium stood. So when the 2008 global financial crisis hit and burst Spain's real estate bubble, the value of that land just cratered. And just like that, poof, the money was gone.
With the funding completely evaporated, construction stopped dead in its tracks in February 2009. And it left behind this, a concrete skeleton. You had cranes just frozen in place, concrete seats gathering dust, and what was supposed to be this beacon of the future became a ghost haunting the city's skyline.
And the damage, it went so far beyond the stadium. The club itself was crippled. It fell into massive debt. They were forced to sell off their star players just to keep the lights on. And the trust between the owners and the fans absolutely shattered. The dream had turned into a full-blown nightmare.
Okay, so after years of decay, false starts, and just deepening frustration, a lifeline finally appeared in 2021. It was this landmark deal that was going to inject enough cash to finally restart the project and finish that haunted stadium.
This number right here, this is the key to the whole revival. It represents the La Liga Impulso deal. Basically, the Spanish league partnered with an investment firm called CVC Capital Partners. In exchange for a piece of future media rights, clubs got a massive cash injection for infrastructure. And for Valencia, this was the moment everything changed. They finally had the money to wake the ghost.
But here's the thing, the new funding came with a new dose of reality. That 2006 vision of just pure, unrestrained ambition was gone. In its place was a much more pragmatic 2022 plan. The capacity was trimmed a bit, and the focus shifted from sheer grandeur to something way more important: financial viability and modern sustainability. So, with construction finally humming along again and a completion date set for 2027, the focus is now shifting from concrete and steel to the people, the fans, and what this stadium truly means for the soul and the identity of Valencia. And this really gets to the heart of the conflict for the fans. It's this battle between heart and head, right? On one side, you've got the soul of the club, the historic Mestalla, this sacred ground filled with a century of memories. And on the other, you've got the future, a sleek, modern home that promises new revenue and the chance to finally compete with giants like Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Because ultimately, it all comes down to this. In the brutal world of modern football, this stadium isn't a luxury anymore. It's an absolute necessity. It's about revenue, it's about global branding,
And it's about the simple, long-term financial survival of the club.
So as those cranes finally swing back into action, the new Mestalla is actually on its way to being completed. But what it's ultimately going to represent? Well, that's still an open question. Will it be a gleaming monument to a bright future? Or will it forever carry the shadows of the troubled, two-decade journey it took to get here?